Hey, what's up, you guys? I'm so excited to be back on camera with you and to share this video with you guys. I know it's been a minute since we've hung out, but I'm here and I actually filmed this video like a month ago, and when I sat down to finally edit it, I realized that I lost a lot of footage. Partly, it was actually not the video that I filmed, but vlog footage that I had done throughout the past few months, and in anticipation of this video, I wanted to sort of put it all together and kind of share with you in the moment, but I lost it all, so yeah. But the way that I had originally filmed like my sit down portion of it a few weeks back, it just didn't make sense anymore because I didn't have the vlog footage and the way that I talked about everything, and I was like assuming and I left stuff out. Anyways, all that to say, this is a redo, but we're gonna make it work. But yeah, let's just dive right in. If you saw the title of this video, then you know I'm telling you about this lifestyle change that I recently made. My last video was on my issues with and challenges with body image and like kind of mental health as well, which, you know, so goes like hand in hand. So itchy. But I wanted to make it clear that everything I said in that video still stands, and I have lost some weight since I started this lifestyle, which I kind of knew was going to happen, but that's not the reason that I started it. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I was getting to a point where like my clothes weren't really fitting as well as they normally would, and I just felt very like bloated and kind of like inflamed and puffy, and you know, I wasn't feeling my best, so I knew I needed to make a change. This is something that I honestly never thought I would do, as far as like going keto. So basically in May, I took a class, and it was like a health and wellness class, and my professor made the class watch this documentary called The Magic Pill. It's on Netflix if you're interested in it, and I think she really asked us to watch it because she wanted us to kind of like critique it, but I actually found the whole video to be very compelling, and it really changed my understanding of what I thought a keto diet looked like, because, you know, I'd heard of keto diets, but it kind of just sounded like Atkins to me, sort of like low carb and lots of like meat and cheese, and like it didn't sound healthy to me. And watching that documentary really opened my eyes, because they were eating basically a lot of foods that I already gravitate towards and eat. You would see them eating like these really like, you know, iron, like very vibrant, like healthy grass fed like meats, and like sauteed kale, and like healthy like oils like coconut oil and avocado oil, and bulletproof coffee, which I love. And so I'd been doing bulletproof for about a year, and I loved the way that it made me feel. I still love it, and I drink one pretty much every day, but it really just like, it really felt like that's kind of what I already gravitate towards, but just sort of taking it like that next step further. I did a lot of research over the summer. I was in New York doing an internship, and so since I was there and I didn't have a kitchen, I was always like ordering Postmates or like going out to eat. I didn't really have the ability to cook for myself, and I really wasn't eating well when I was in New York, to be perfectly honest. And so I felt like I really gained some weight over the summer especially, and I generally just didn't feel good. And I think that's the biggest thing for me that I really like want to make clear. I never ever would endorse making a lifestyle change or going on a diet that makes you feel like shit. Like, it's just not worth it. And like, you can lose weight like eating Krispy Kreme donuts if you count your calories, you know what I mean? But like, it's not nutrient dense, there's no nutritional value, there's no vitamins, there's nothing. It's garbage, it's, you know, junk. And so for me, like, if I'm going to alter the way that I'm eating, it needs to have benefits to my body. And I did a lot of research, as I said, and I really just align with everything that, you know, keto is. I think there are always going to be unhealthy ways to do any diet. You know, you can be an unhealthy vegan and eat junk food. You can be an unhealthy, you know, you can go gluten free and still like eat a lot of junk, like Cheetos are gluten free. You know what I'm saying? So even though, like, let's be honest, I love like hot Cheetos, but and I think there are also a lot of benefits to the keto diet that I'll talk to you guys about besides the weight loss, just in how you feel. But so yeah, basically I started about 3 months ago. It was like the last week in September. I actually started it kind of a weird way. But basically, if you guys have followed me for a long time on Instagram or Facebook, or you actually know me, right before I started college, I'm a senior now, so this was like 4 years ago, I was doing Isagenix, which is a nutrition and wellness company. They also have essential oils now. And they're a great company because they really do put a lot of science and research into their products, and they source everything really well. And I still use a lot of their products, like what is friendly to the keto diet for me. But, you know, I started doing that and it was a real shock to my system. And I really believe in their products, but I think that at this point in my life, following like their specific like plan where you drink like 2 shakes a day and stuff just doesn't really work for me. When I like had stopped and come back to it and stopped and come back to it, it just didn't have the same effect on my body anymore. And I did do a lot of their 2-day supported fasts. So you have like these little snacks and drinks and whatever, and then you're fasting for 48 hours. And those, I just would always have so much energy and feel so, so good. And the reason that I'm talking about this is because what I found out this summer that I actually didn't know is that those fasts, which actually really help with weight loss and metabolism and cravings and resetting your taste buds and just everything about it, the reason that you lose weight during that time is because your body's not in starvation mode, it's in ketosis. And it's in a very low level of ketosis, I would say, just because you're only there for 2 days. You really don't like get into it, I feel like, until the second day. But I had no idea that that's what that was, and that's why I felt so great when I was cleansing, because you think about like a fast or a cleanse or whatever you want to call it, those can be awful. Like juice cleanses, no. Like that stuff, you're hangry, you're tired, like you don't feel good. This stuff actually works. And so my thought was like, okay, I'm going to go into this and I'm going to do a 2-day isogenics cleanse, and then I'm going to start keto, and that'll jumpstart me and push me into ketosis. And I think that was like my saving grace, because I did not have the keto flu, which is, for those of you guys who aren't familiar with keto, is basically where you feel like you have the flu because you're burning off all the glucose in your body. I guess I should kind of briefly explain, if you guys aren't familiar with the difference between like what keto even really is and why it's important to be in ketosis. So basically, if you're a normal person and you eat normal food your whole life, you probably eat a good amount of carbs. And if you're eating, you know, not low carb, or even like basically just not high fat, your body is converting all your food into glucose, which is a sugar, and then using that as energy. Ketosis is, instead of burning carbs for energy, you're burning fat for energy, and it's a lot more efficient. Your body just performs better on it. Sometimes people get confused and they think that it's like your body's in starvation mode. It's not, because you're eating plenty of food, but you're just burning energy in a different way, in a more efficient way. Like I said, I did the cleanse and I started, and like the first like 2 to 3 days after I actually started eating keto after the cleanse, I was really tired, kind of like that vibe, like you've like just pulled an all-nighter or something, or you're like jet lagged. Like I just felt really kind of sleepy and out of it and lazy, but I did not have the keto flu. And it was really surprising to me how like I could eat such a small portion of food and be like insanely full. Like I wasn't used to making portions how like you would portion with keto, because you have to think about it, like carbs are very they're like filler foods. So like 100 calories of like a carb like rice or something and 100 calories of fat looks really different. I basically tracked my food for like the first month or so, and I was like eating, and then I would like eat something, and I would get to this point where like halfway into my meal, I would be like, I'm stuffed, like I can't eat anymore, which was kind of crazy because I didn't expect to feel so satisfied and have like no cravings or anything. And I think that really has a lot to do with the cleanse that I did before. And also, I think it's probably because I've done so many of those cleanses, my body is familiar with being in ketosis, like it's been in ketosis before for brief periods of time. So it's not, for people who have never been in ketosis, I think it would probably be really, really hard in the beginning. And that's why you get the keto flu, because your body just doesn't know how to efficiently be in ketosis. So it's kind of starting to figure it out and like connect all those dots. But for me, it was actually really pretty effortless. And then as the months have gone on, my energy and my productivity has just been like insane. My mental focus and clarity and everything. And especially considering like the fact that I suffer from like depression and anxiety, for me to be so motivated again is just like unbelievably, like it's just such a massive gift for me because it's so easy, even though I'm in such a great place mentally right now and before, it would just be really easy to get into kind of like a lazy rut or just put things off. I'm a huge procrastinator. And I remember like probably like 2 or 3 weeks in, like, or maybe a month in, I remember like coming home from classes and just like doing all this stuff around my apartment, running errands, cooking dinner, like cleaning, like getting homework done, blah, blah, blah. And then like 9, 10 o'clock rolls around and I was like, holy crap, like how did I do all of that without like having to be like, okay, we got to get this done. Like it's a struggle, it's a hassle. Like I got all these things on my list because normally I just like shut down and I'll like watch Netflix or something. So that kind of blew my mind. And that's just really added like such a massive, it's just added so much quality to my life. My skin has also gotten way better, and I'm sure that parts of that are my skincare, but also a massive, massive part of it is your diet. I truly believe that like if your diet isn't right, it doesn't matter what kind of skincare you use, like you're probably still gonna break out or like have not the best texture or like a glow or whatever. It's just so important. It's actually funny because when I started this diet, I've been kind of slowly, not kind of, I have been kind of gaining weight since freshman year. So it's not my senior year. So we're talking about like 3 years of like weight gain over time. And I've probably fluctuated a little bit, but I have tried to like reel my diet in and eat really clean, and I always gravitate towards like cooking healthy and at home and stuff, and being in my own apartment since I've been in this apartment for a year now. Since I've been in it, I've been really focused on taking advantage of the fact that I finally have a kitchen that I can cook in, that I can prepare healthy meals for myself and be in control of my diet, because when you're living in a dorm, it's a lot harder. Living here by myself and having my apartment has really made a big difference, but I think that doing keto just like really brought it to where I wanted to be. I've thought about like long term what this is gonna look like for me. And it's bizarre because when I watched because I watched a lot of like keto people on YouTube and stuff like that before I started, kind of just looking at like recipe ideas and kind of just getting a feel for like what this lifestyle is like and all that kind of thing. And I think that was really helpful, but in the back of your mind, you're kind of like, oh, like, am I never going to be able to eat this again? Or am I never going to blah, blah, blah? And it's like, I don't like putting myself in that place of like, oh, you're so limited or you can't have this. Like, listen, I can have anything that I want, but I choose to live my life like this because it feels so much better. It just feels better. And I think for me, the reason that keto has worked so well is because it eliminated the things that I really, really struggled with. So for example, like cravings, like I could be good all day long before I started keto, but at the end of the night, I always had a craving. I always would that was when my calories would tip out of the area of like weight loss to like maintenance or like weight gain, you know, like just beyond what I really should have been eating, or just eating things that aren't good for me, like ice cream, desserts, chips, whatever. And with keto, you never really have cravings. I mean, like, yes, I can be like, oh, you know what sounds good to me? A burger or whatever. But the thing is you don't want it in the same way that you did before. It's like before, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I think everyone has like different relationships with foods, but if you've ever had like a craving and you're like, oh, I just really need a cupcake, and then you eat it and you're like, yes, like I got my fix. It's almost, it is like an addiction. Carbs and sugar are an addiction, like, because if you think about it, you know, you eat all these carbs and sugar, your blood sugar spikes and you feel really great, but then you come down off of it just as quick, and that's why you get hangry and you have all these cravings and stuff, because your body's always wanting that little bit of extra jolt of energy. But with keto, you're always even. That's why it's really great for people with like diabetes and stuff like that as well. I mean, consult your own doctor first. Obviously, I'm not a nutritionist or a doctor, so like, you know, everything that I'm saying is just my own experience. So like, do you figure out your stuff, do your own research. Like, you have to be your own health advocate. But when I watched that documentary, The Magic Pill, you know, the woman was able to get off her insulin who had diabetes, the child who had pretty severe autism, like her ability, she couldn't even speak before, her ability to speak and interact and like her moods and everything just completely transformed. It's just really powerful to see like that food is medicine and it can be used in such a positive way. But yeah, just feeling like you never have that desperate desire for a food, or like you have such a strong craving that you either can't control yourself or you feel deprived. I never ever feel deprived, ever. If I want something, I find a way to make it keto friendly, and most of the time I don't really care. Like, I need to go grocery shopping and I'm like, what should I make? Like, I don't know, like I don't even really care. And so there's just a lot of power in being able to just choose the most nutrient rich and like positive healthy foods for your body. But also, like, if you know me in real life from before I started keto, I am someone that gets hangry. Hangry. Like, if you looked up hangry in the dictionary, you would see this face. Like, I get mean, I get snippy. That's what would happen. And it's not cute. And I would always like bring like a bar with me or something in my bag because I don't like feeling that like dip, you know. I never get hangry anymore. If I do feel hunger, it's never, it's like it's in your stomach. You feel the hunger pain, but you never feel the blood sugar drop. And that is just like everything to me. But yeah, I always feel satisfied and energized and clear-minded and productive, and it's just been amazing for me. Like, I'm just so happy with what this has done for me. And then of course there's been the weight loss, which is funny because I think like the first month, like 2 weeks, maybe it was 2 weeks. Did I take a 2-week photo? If I did, I'll insert it. But I really wasn't paying attention to the weight loss at all. I was like, I'm just gonna focus on doing it right, eating really clean keto foods, making sure I'm getting in enough fat, focusing on how I'm feeling, and just not worrying about the rest, because, you know, that's what, like, the kind of advice that I found from a lot of people in, you know, the keto world in the past, tried to, like, you know, count my calories or whatever. I get really in my head, and I feel like when I'm in that mindset, I'm just too focused on the result and not on anything else. And then I feel this like pressure or stress, or I don't know. It's not a good place to be in, and you get frustrated. But yeah, I kind of just went in, took a leap of faith, and was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go into this. I'm gonna do it 100%, and I'm gonna see what happens. I decided one day, I was like, you know what, I haven't really like even looked at like what's going on. Like I haven't taken any progress photos to compare. I took photos in the beginning, the day that I started, but hadn't taken any photos so to see, you know, the changes, and I was really surprised that there were changes. And then as like time has gone on, I've taken more photos, and it's just really shocking how like quickly I've lost weight, because every time I've ever lost weight, I've felt like I am purposefully, and like I'm very focused on not eating too much, restriction, deprivation. And this is the first time I felt like full, satisfied, no cravings, no hunger ever. And when I was hungry, I would eat, obviously, but like so satisfied and not deprived. And to lose weight and be in that space is just mind-blowing. It feels really good. I don't know if you guys can like tell looking at me, but I saw like a photo on my Instagram, like in my feed, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I really lost a lot of weight in my face. Like thank God, because I was starting to get like a double chin situation that like was starting to like really bother me. To be perfectly honest, like, you know, my body, I can always like dress to flatter myself, but like my face, I don't want my face to be, you know, not looking like me. You know what? Like I want to look like me. You know, I've always like maintained that, you know, I can love myself like when I'm at my heaviest or when I'm at my thinnest. And you know, it's just not about the weight. Like I'm sure a lot of people will watch this video because they want to see the weight loss, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to better yourself, you know? There's nothing wrong with having goals, but I think it's the mindset that you go into it with, and if you're doing it in a healthy way and for the right reasons. I don't know, weight loss can, for a lot of women, I think, can be kind of like playing with fire, because it is sort of addictive to see yourself losing weight. I don't know, it can be a slippery slope for some people. So I think it's just always to like important to remember to love yourself at every stage. And like right now, I'm certainly not like I can definitely lose more weight, but like I feel really great and I'm really happy, and I'm gonna just continue doing my thing and seeing what happens, and it just feels really good. And so if you want to see some of the food that I've been eating and like take a longer look at like my progress photos and like my whole kind of thing, I actually made a separate Instagram account for my keto journey, just sort of to have really for myself as like more of like a journal or like photo diary, just because first of all, I love to create things. Like I'm a very artistic person, and so to have a place to keep all of my like moments and memories and sort of look back on, I think is like, it's cool. And you know, when I first really kind of got into social media, I guess, like before I started doing YouTube, before I came to Rollins, I was sharing a lot of fitness and wellness related stuff on my Instagram and my Facebook. That was around the time that I was doing a lot of weightlifting. I was getting certified to teach yoga, which I did, and I was doing isogenics, and I had lost all this weight. And I felt like so empowered in my body during that time, and I was just kind of sharing yoga poses and like my shakes, and it was really so great. And I think a lot of that's really how I got a huge chunk of my following on social media and stuff, was from that. And then obviously I went through a lot of stuff during school my first few years and wasn't really in the place to, you know, keep sharing, and I kind of fell off the bandwagon. And I'm really grateful that I did, because I think I really needed to like kind of eat some humble pie, I think. I had some work to do on myself, and I think the universe just was like, listen, girl, like you're gonna work through this stuff whether you like it or not, so like it's happening and deal with it. But yeah, I'm actually so grateful that it sounds weird to say, but I'm so grateful that I gained weight and that I went through a hard time, because I went abroad. I was the heaviest I've ever been. I broke up with my boyfriend. I was alone. I was on my own in a foreign country, and I really had to learn how to love myself. And then I moved into an apartment in the States by myself. And I really had to learn how to be alone and, you know, be comfortable in the skin that I'm in. And these past like 3 years of college have just completely changed who I am. And I'm so, so grateful for it. And I'm just so thankful that I can be comfortable and be happy with myself because, you know, it really sucks to be insecure. It just sucks. And we all have our insecurities and our issues and like things that like kind of trigger us or whatever. But like, it's one thing to have insecurities and it's another thing to really be insecure and really live your life in that space. And I don't like how that feels. Yeah, I'm just so grateful that I went through all of that because I just wouldn't be the person that I am today. And, you know, I do feel so called to share these pieces of my life with you because, you know, I do have a platform and I do have, you know, so many women that reach out to me and connect with me. And I love connecting with you guys because I love sharing my journey and the things that I've learned, whether that's makeup or, you know, fitness or healthy eating or, you know, spirituality or fashion or whatever it is, the things that I have to share, I love to share them and I love connecting with you guys. And I just feel like I have really gotten to know so many women on a deeper level, even just through DMs because of sharing these things. And, you know, I share it for you guys because if like one person is impacted by like a video, then it's all worth it, you know. It's just something that I'm very passionate about and I feel really called to do. I'll definitely post like some what I eat in a day is coming up and kind of show you guys like what a day of eating looks like with keto because I mean, I do it really clean. Like I said, I think anyone can make it unhealthy, but I do it in a really, really healthy, clean way. And, you know, I don't think that there is like one perfect diet or one perfect way to live your life. I think every person is so different, every body, genetics, where you live, where you're from, like how you live your life, your lifestyle, like everyone's on their own journey and everyone is called to different things. And, you know, I don't judge. I don't care. Like you have to do what works for you and what works for you might not work for me and vice versa. I'll see like certain people posting a lot of stuff about their diet and it's kind of in a sort of like ego spiritual, judgmental, negative, kind of know-it-all way. And I used to sort of be in that space when I did Isagenix. I thought I had it all like figured out and I still believe that they're an amazing company, but it's not the only way. You know what I mean? Like you can do Isagenix, you can do keto, you can go be a vegan. Personally, the vegan lifestyle just doesn't work for my body and it doesn't really, I think that being vegan is amazing for the environment and I think it's always from such a great place and I have a lot of respect for people who are vegan. But for me, like eating like salmon with tons of omega-3s, red meat, lots of fish, lots of green leafy vegetables, healthy fats, chia seeds, hemp seeds, ghee, butter, like all of those things make me feel good. They make my skin look good. They make my hair look good. By the way, I cut my hair. Hope you guys like it. That makes me feel good. And if you feel good living your life in another way and eating in another way, then you have to do what works for you. That being said, I think that once you get over that initial hump with keto, it just gets better and better and better. It's like funny because I've had like a few cheat moments. I ate it like a cheat dessert. I had like some creme brulee when I was in Arizona like a month and a half ago. And then when I was home this past weekend in South Carolina, I ate french fries and ice cream. I was peer pressured, not cool, mom. And it was because my burger sucked. I got a burger without the bun. The meat was all dry. It was gross. And I was like, well, what's a little bit? Like, you know, it'll be fine. Like, I'll bounce back, whatever. No. That's the other thing with keto that I forgot to mention. If you cheat, you set yourself back to 0. So it's not like you can have a When I say cheat, I mean like if you cheat with carbs. If you get down and dirty with some carbohydrates, you are going to be in severe physical pain. So when I was in Arizona and I had the creme brulee, I woke up with a massive migraine, felt horrible all day long. Then that was like, I think that wasn't as bad because it was like a high fat, like creme brulee is basically just cream and egg yolks, so like still a higher fat, but like the sugar, you know, definitely knocked me out of ketosis. But when I had the french fries and the ice cream, I literally that night I got a splitting headache. I had the headache for like 2 days, and I felt hungover the next morning, all day, and the day after. Like you feel like you have a hangover and a sinus infection at the same time. I literally had like mucus just nonstop, and that's apparently a normal side effect. I looked it up. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Like the fries weren't even that good. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there are so many like ways to make your food ketoified. So like, no, I don't know if I could ever see myself going back to eating just a standard American diet. I could see myself maybe leaning more towards paleo in like a year or two if I felt called to do that, if I kind of tested the waters and it worked for my body. Just because of the research that I've done, some people can kind of like eat, you know, bananas and you know, apples and like root vegetables and things that are, you know, higher in carbs. But I don't know. At this point, I don't have any desire to do that. I'm really loving the keto diet and I'm really happy with it. So don't cheat. If you do this, like, you cannot cheat. You will just, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. You'll feel like absolute garbage. Oh, and alcohol. Ooh, listen, my tolerance went like, no. I got drunk off of like 2 glasses of wine, and that was not, I was hungover the next day. You can still drink, like, but your tolerance just goes like way down. So you have to be really careful, because if you're used to drinking a lot and you try to drink the same amount, it's gonna be bad. Oh, and I also wanted to mention, like, if you're someone that, you know, likes to go out, be social, have dinner with your friends, like, you can always find a way to like make it work and still live your life. And that's something that I really appreciate about this diet. When I did isogenics, that was a little bit harder for me. It wasn't impossible, but like I kind of had to plan around, like, if I knew I was going to have dinner, then I had to have my shakes in the morning, or if I knew I was going to have lunch, I had to have my shake in the morning and the evening. And like, or you would like, you know, it was a little bit more challenging. So this just offers me a lot more flexibility. That being said, I definitely prefer to cook at home because I'm just in control of, you know, the ingredients and the quality of everything. I try to buy everything like organic and grass-fed and all that kind of stuff if I can. And obviously not everyone can do that with their budget, but I think if you can, it's really important that you do. If you guys have any questions for me, leave it in the comments, send me a DM on Instagram. I feel like that's how most of you guys contact me. So anyways, that is it for this video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to follow my other Instagram. It's called Flaming Hot Keto. And also follow me on my regular Instagram if you don't already, because I'm pretty active on there. I do a lot of stories, and some of them are pretty funny, I think. Alright, you guys, I love you so, so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.